皆さんこんにちは。Welcome back to my course. In this lesson, we will learn filler words and sentence connection. It is well known that when you listen to Japanese people talking, it sounds as if they never pause or finish the sentence. The reason for this is because we use a lot of filler words and trailing off sentences. Filler words such as or well or like are used in other languages too, but in Japanese, there are various filler words that we can use depending on what you really want to say or what you want to imply or how you want other person to feel and many other factors. It is true that it's even difficult for us not to use them. On the other hand, sentences that trail off, by which I mean that we leave a sentence incomplete by using conjunctions at the end of the sentence. This is quite unique in Japanese. We speak like, yesterday I ate sushi and, or I'd like to book a table but, even though there is nothing else to say after these conjunctions. There are many possible reasons for using many filler words and a sentence trail off. They all are highly related to Japanese mental culture, where people give a lot of care to others and avoid making things too direct. For example, by starting a sentence with filler words and not ending the sentence completely either, we make our statement not too strong and give the listeners good space for thinking or responding. Otherwise, it's also related to the grammar structure. In Japanese, the verbs come at the end of each sentence, which means you have to know what or how you want to say things before starting the sentence. Using filler words gives you some time to think before starting the sentences. On the other hand, sentence trail-offs are easy to do with Japanese grammar because the conjunctions, or in Japanese, conjunctive particles, come at the end of the sentences while they come in the beginning of the sentence in English. In this lesson, I will first introduce 17 filler words, which are more than enough for you to be able to speak like a native immediately. I've categorized them in 4 groups, which is first for thinking, and then to make the speech indirect, and then to modify the tone and to connect the sentences. Then I'll show you 5 common ways to leave a sentence incomplete. Let's start with thinking filler words. These filler words are most commonly used ones. They are probably used in around 90% of the sentences. They are very similar to English and they don't need a certain context or meaning in order to be used. But literally anytime you have some time before responding, you can use them. First one is or You don't have to open the mouth in case you use And we have which means the same, but it's for more formal conversation. Even when the emperor speaks in front of the TV, for example, he can use it. Etto is much more casual, and it's especially for when you are trying to remember something that you forgot. And lastly, sono and ano usually means that or it, but we use it to fill the sentence. Here's the conversation. Those are commonly used filler words that make your speech very smooth and natural by adding them to the beginning of the sentence. Now let me introduce how to finish the sentence incomplete in order to make it even more natural. As I said, the technique is not to finish the sentence. I'll explain 5 common conjunctive particles that are used to incomplete a sentence. First one is to finish the sentence with te form of the verb, and that indicates sequence or cause. And in English, it could be blah 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 and or blah 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 so. For example, 家中探したけど見つからなくて I looked for entire house but I couldn't find it. And. This means and. And the reason why we finish with conjunctions, even though there's nothing else to say, is I think because there is actually something to say, but we just don't say that because we don't want to talk directly or we want other persons to take over the conversation or to guess what we want to say. For example, in this sentence, after this and could be and what should I do? どうしたらいい? Or and could you forgive me? And in this lesson, I'm gonna show you these possible unspoken parts But it doesn't mean that you have to guess it or you have to know or you have to use those methods knowing what you want to say actually, because even natives do it unconsciously. But I'm showing this unspoken part because I guess a lot of you guys have wondered why Japanese people speak like this. The next one is kara, which usually means because or also so, and this shows the reasons even more clearly. For example, 冷蔵庫にお昼ご飯あるからね. There is your lunch in the fridge. So, or because your lunch is in the fridge. And then the possible unspoken part could be それ食べてね. So, eat it. Another one is